Hello, hello once again. Welcome to Voice Notes, a live journal where I talk about topics related to a resolute mind. Thanks for joining in today. Today's topic is titled Always on Time. Yes, always on time. I want to start off the entry with this piece of writing. I read. As it is, I am enjoying life's rhythm. I am enjoying the pace that life is carrying me. I fit into my life's timing. Everything is going well with me. But then, when I looked by, I was wrong. For I saw the waves taking me to a place that I never intended to go. How slow and behind must I be? I'm falling out of time. But then, when I looked by again, I realized that I was wrong once again. For now, I see life was always taking me where I actually wanted to be. This timing of life certainly suits me. And now I wonder to myself, how many times must it take me to be wrong before I finally realize that I am always on time? Okay. I find this piece to be quite relevant in my life, very relevant actually. So I talk more about it in one's timing of life. Let's talk about it. To begin, if I had to place myself in a phase of growth that represents my life's growth pattern, it would definitely fit into the category of the late bloomer. I take my time with everything. I take my time with everything. Everything in the whole world, I just love to take my time. It would almost seem as though I'm going nowhere with the time of my life that was allotted to me, to the point where on many occasions I felt as though I had nothing to show, where I actually contributed in this lifetime. One may grow dismayed to such a life, where time just seems to be a number, as it seems as though no fruit is being born with the time that was given to produce fruit. Year after year, no fruit. More years pass by again, still no fruit. Not even a dried up berry, just plain desert land, that's all. The wilderness became my home, for real. It's actually depressing when one truly thinks about it. But such is the story of my life, for which I have cried numerous times before, if I have to be transparent about it. But I take this experience as my own project, where time became my very challenge. And this topic sits close to the heart with me, for in this challenge, I had to rethink my whole life. Now, does it actually matter that someone needs to be on time? Of course it does, but I must remember that everything fits together. And so one factor most usually relies on another factor being present. This produces the cycle of life. Being on time allows others to also be on time, so that others can also be on time, and so on and so on. But from my viewpoint, it seemed to me that I was already outside of this whole cycle. I became invisible, where I thought to myself that nothing actually was waiting on me. I became the ghost. It did not matter whether I was there or not, and I had to learn pretty quickly to not be bothered by this truth. I had to learn quite quickly to lose the validation from this world. I felt like a nobody to anybody. I also felt quite useless to anything and everything around me. I served no purpose. I felt quite lost. But I must say, this is a very crucial point in one's life to pay attention to. Everyone is going to reach this point at some point. It is a place where you begin to ask all the hard questions. And in the beginning of this place, you are left solely with your own thoughts and imaginations. It also feels quite scary to be groping around aimlessly in the place of unknown. And I sat in this place for a very long time, thinking to myself that the time of my life had already taken place and I was not there to participate. And I could not be more wrong. I was wrong. In fact, it was in this place, this very place of the unknown, where I actually started to realize or identify how off my vision actually was. I just could not see. So, what did the perception of lost time actually do? Well, it did a lot for me. I share with you 3 personal insights into my life. 1. Decision making. Okay. It taught me how horribly I was at decision making. It was not that I made wrong decisions. The key point is how I viewed my decisions or how my attitude was towards my decisions, especially when making really, really big decisions. This is paramount for me. Let me explain. For the most part, I felt as though I could not share my decisions with the ones around me because somehow my choices seemed way out of line with life's predictable turns in life. I felt guilty. I felt heavy in revealing my thoughts on where I actually wanted to go. I also felt ashamed because I felt as though I would be disappointing the persons who knew much of me. I also felt sad because I knew very well that I was falling out of time. My will was disrupted, though I thought back then that I did not fit into the settings of life, and much anxiety was growing on me if I allowed myself to follow through with that path and timeline. When my health started to deteriorate, I knew it was time to make the change. For I thought to myself back then that I was closer to death in a place knowing where I was than if in a place where I could recover and have life but not knowing where I was going to be. This second choice propelled me to a place where it felt as though time literally stopped for a really long time. It got worse before I could see any progress. But about the decision making, I realized one thing. I let life choose for me. Life is going to choose for you anyway. And this is one lesson that I have learned. Life will always choose for you. One may think he has it all figured out for his life, but this is simply not the case. It may be bitter in the beginning, but when you allow life to flow through and just be patient for a little while, you actually begin to notice how the twists and turns just magically fit in to propel you in the direction that you always wanted to go in the first place. Trusting life with life decisions works just as the cruising ship trusts in moving with the waves of the ocean. 2. Confronting the shadows. If it is one thing that I learned, it is this. That life will keep throwing the same shadows for you until you begin to trust and learn how to command your battling situation. You get trained to not be as fearful of things you once thought to be mightily fearful of. And guess what? You have ample time to sort yourself out, developing certain skills on sight, developing confidence, and appreciating the growth that you achieve through the struggles. While in the wilderness, one confronts the things he would usually put off or avoid while being busy in the world. Time is needed to pluck out the thorns and heal the many wounds suffered. That is all I have to say on this point, nothing more. And I share one more insight with you. Number 3, vision. Being taken out of life for a time allows one to reset his views about his purpose in life. One no longer thinks about moment by moment, that is for the short term. Instead, he sees his whole life in the palm of one hand, witnessing his full lifespan from beginning to end. Now, this removes the idea of uncertainty for the while. He can look back and then see ahead, and he won't be lost as to where he is going. Even if and when he dies, he already feels fulfilled because he knows that what he is doing is already in line with his life's course and timeline. But this is the main lesson of them all. I go back to the sovereign nature of life. Ultimately, life itself is the main decider. It must mean then that I do not always have to stress around, for my plan is already embedded in life's course. It must also mean that the times I perform certain tasks have already been decided a really long time ago. My beginning has been decided, and so has my end. I can relax and enjoy life space, right? No one can see the things to come. So when life lets you rest, rest. When life lets you work, work. And when life lets you play, play. Whatever you do, just allow life to have its way, and you will find great peace. Okay, and I end on this note. Thank you for listening in today, and see you soon. Until next time. Adios, and hope that your week be filled with much pleasant surprises. Until next time. Bye.